Roman Reigns has had a very long and fruitful career in the WWE, and the fruit of those labors can be seen with just how many WrestleMania main events this man has been a part of. Now, of course, not every single one of the matches that he's had has been a WrestleMania main event. That being said, most of them have, and we're going to be ranking every single one of Roman Reigns' WrestleMania matches today. So we're going to be starting off at WrestleMania 29 and working our way up to WrestleMania 39, and we're going to be ranking all of the matches from Hall of Fame tier all the way down to trash. And we're bringing it back, folks. We're giving away another $50 Amazon gift card to somebody in the comments. I'm going to give the instructions as to how to enter that at some point in this video. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video, so go ahead and grab a snack, grab a drink, kick your feet up, put me on the big screen, and just enjoy the video. Let's go ahead and get started with Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins going up against Randy Orton, The Big Show, and Sheamus. And if you think about it, the fact that this match exists is kind of wild because that is 6 bona fide superstars that at any moment could main event a pay-per-view minus The Big Show. But either way, all of them in some capacity are wrestling Hall of Famers, and they just had nothing to do with these people, so they just decided to throw them in a match at WrestleMania 29. And this was actually like a pretty decent opener for WrestleMania 29. Would go on to be a fairly weak pay-per-view all in all. Roman Reigns' performance in this match is like it's like 1/6 of the match because there's 6 people in this. So there's not too much to pick and prod at in terms of like what Roman Reigns was able to do in this match. But still, the match itself as a whole, not just Roman Reigns' performance, because that's not what I'm ranking. I'm ranking the match, was okay. I'll put this in the okay category. Next, we've got another 6-man match, including the Shield. That is again Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. This time taking on the New Age Outlaws and Kane at WrestleMania 30. Again, just weird, right? Like just tossing 3 dudes against the Shield. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, sure. This was during the era of the Authority and the Shield kind of like being against the Authority, somewhat helping Daniel Bryan. New Age Outlaws, of course, being part of Triple H's posse and buddies, and Kane, of course, being corporate Kane. Either way, all right, this is one of the weaker matches here. It was just a bona fide squash match to make the Next Generation look strong, and I guess it worked in that regard. But in terms of, what I want to sink my teeth into, this just isn't it. This actually, frankly, goes into the not good category. It just misses out on trash because it executed exactly what it was trying to execute, which was to make the Shield look strong and powerful. So at the very least, it did that, and it did that pretty well. So it avoids the trash category because it managed to hit its mark, but it's still just not a very good match. Next, we've got Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, and WrestleMania 31, including the main event, it's the perfect story of don't judge a book by its cover, because on paper WrestleMania 31 was looking to be like one of the worst WrestleManias in recent memory, and it ended up being one of the best WrestleManias that I've ever seen in person. So this WrestleMania was just full of shockers, and the main event was absolutely no exception. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar was a bit of a tale of two halves, because no one wanted Brock Lesnar as champion, but no one wanted Roman Reigns. This was the start of when everybody started to turn on Roman Reigns, to the point where people started to cheer for Brock Lesnar. But the match itself was full of so much drama. Started off as what we thought was going to end up being a squash match, with Brock Lesnar just tossing around Roman Reigns like a ragdoll for the better part of 20 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes, Roman Reigns comes to life, busts open Brock Lesnar, and the match becomes this absolute masterpiece of suspense. And it's crescendoed by one of the greatest WrestleMania moments with the heist of the century, Seth Rollins running down, turning the match into a triple threat match. So I guess if you want to consider this 2 matches in one, it kind of is, because it is Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and then a triple threat match, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins. So to me, like, not just the moment, but the whole match, the whole presentation, the whole package, dude, this is a Hall of Fame match. That entire WrestleMania honestly is a Hall of Fame worthy WrestleMania. It's such a good show, and the WrestleMania 31 main event between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns is no exception here. All right, you just heard me gush for a solid 3 minutes there about that match. Now let me let me turn this upside down and absolutely shit on a match. It is Roman Reigns versus Triple H in the main event of WrestleMania 32. This sucked. No one wanted Triple H. No one wanted Roman Reigns. There was no surprise to save this. The show itself leading to this match was fairly weak as a whole. The crowd was dead. It was just a bad booking decision to have these two. It is one of those situations where the WWE certainly did not read the room. They did not read the room with the 90,000 people that were there in attendance. So it was just a dragged, it was dull, it was boring, it didn't have any sort of moment that would cause you to get out of your seats, and it was just a fart in the wind. It was a terrible way to end a WrestleMania. Again, the match itself was very weak. The context of the match was hated universally. So there's no saving grace for this match. So Roman Reigns versus Triple H, to me, goes into the trash category. Next up, we've got WrestleMania 33, another main event. So we are on 3 consecutive main events here for Roman Reigns. And the next one, it is Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. And yeah, this kind of also suffers from a little bit of fan fatigue. I think this was part of the time when WrestleMania started to get like 5+ hours long. So by the time that we got to the main event, unless it was something super hype, like the crowd was dead, the people at home were dead because it was like midnight at this point. The show had started at like 4 p.m. And unfortunately, I believe that Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker suffered from fan fatigue. But even if there wasn't fan fatigue, I just don't think that this match would have done much for any fan out there. I think the only thing that could have saved this match and could have made this match super exciting is if the streak was still alive. And I'm of the mind that, like the streak should have still been alive. And if your goal was to make Roman Reigns the next big thing, no pun intended, it should have been Roman that defeated the streak, as much as some of you might hate that. But in terms of booking, like to me, to this day, Brock Lesnar beating the streak just still doesn't make sense. But yeah, the fact that Taker had already lost his streak at this point made this match so much less so much more inconsequential is what I'm trying to say. Like the stakes, there weren't any stakes. There was no title there, and yet this still went on last. It's almost as if this was supposed to be the streak versus the big dog match, but like they blew their load too early with the streak a few years earlier. So again, the lack of stakes, Taker just couldn't move. Roman Reigns is not, especially at this time, was not somebody who was good enough in terms of in the ring and in-ring psychology to be able to carry Undertaker through a match. And Undertaker, sure as shit, at this point in his career wasn't carrying anybody through a match. So, the fact that, we have a guy that can barely move, a guy that is not good enough to carry the guy that can barely move, and there's no stakes, like also puts this into the trash category. This would have been far better if this was at the very minimum for the streak, because it would have been a match that we cared about. Because at the end of the day, Undertaker versus Roman Reigns, it was kind of just a glorified exhibition. It meant nothing. Next up, we've got another Roman Reigns main event. We have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. And at the very least, I will give this match that it kind of swerved us, because everybody and their dog and their mother believed that Roman Reigns was going to be winning this. And they swerved us. And it was Brock Lesnar that ended up walking out with the title. There's still rumors as to like why that was the case, because everything pointed to Roman Reigns winning here, considering he had, not been able to take the title from Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. But the theory that I believe is that him and everyone backstage already knew that he was going to be quasi-retiring because of leukemia. So that's why they decided to not put the title on him. Obviously, like, I'm not an insider. I'm just speculating and going by what other fans have speculated. But this still doesn't save this. This goes into the trash category as well. It pales in comparison to their WrestleMania 31 match. Even without the Seth Rollins cash in, the WrestleMania 31 match was significantly better in terms of the story that they were telling in the ring. In fact, I dare say that this WrestleMania 34 match like kind of just had no story behind it. It's just like, okay, like our two guys, all right, just put them together, just toss them together, and yeah, that's our WrestleMania main event. event. No one really was biting into it. Again, crowd was kind of dead at this point because it was a 7-hour WrestleMania. So again, it goes into the trash category. Just this was like the 3 years that WrestleMania like just consistently was poor. And the main event and Roman Reigns being in the main event just did not help that cause either. So it goes into the trash category. Next up, we have Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. And if you forgot that this match existed, I wouldn't blame you, because it was just a match in a 35 match card that was WrestleMania 35. This is when WrestleMania started to get just so ridiculously long that even WWE is like, okay, we need 2 days to do this. So I wouldn't blame you if you forgot that Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre happened. Yeah, okay, it was okay. It wasn't crazy. It was weirdly a match that people were behind Roman Reigns, which that was a breath of fresh air because he had just come back from leukemia. But yeah, the match was okay. It wasn't anything really glorious. It was about 10 minutes long. Bada bing, bada boom. That's what it was. It was just, okay, let's get Roman a win back here at WrestleMania. I only included this to remind you that this existed at one point, a Roman Reigns versus Goldberg that didn't end up happening because of the pandemic. I'm only just putting it in trash because it didn't happen, but I'm not really going to. I don't really have any thoughts on it. My only thought on it is that I wish it had happened. I wish it wasn't Braun Strowman. I wish it was Roman Reigns. But, you know, it's kind of those hindsight moments. I feel like if that match does happen as scheduled, we don't get the tribal chief badass mother effer that is Roman Reigns. So I'm also happy that it didn't happen. I'm just, you know, revision is history, right? You know, it's really easy to say that, hey, it's a good thing that Roman wasn't in this, but our other alternative was Braun Strowman. It's just a weird time for WWE. That pandemic era was rough. So yeah, I'm not really ranking that one. I just wanted to remind you that Goldberg versus Roman Reigns as the main event of WrestleMania 36 was supposed to happen. And next up, we have WrestleMania 37, Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, and Edge. And this is like the start of Roman Reigns as like the true tyrannical tribal chief. Like, no one can stop him. I believe it was after this, the next episode of Friday Night SmackDown, that he debuted his new current theme song. But this match was great. Like, it's like super close to being into the Hall of Fame category. Daniel Bryan was fantastic, and even if from a storyline and narrative perspective he didn't really make sense, I think he was just kind of tossed in to make the fans happy, who have always been behind Daniel Bryan and have always wanted Daniel Bryan to have that big spot. But yeah, we also had the returning Edge, who had been gone for, at this point, like 10 years from that neck fusion surgery. So the fact that this match exists is also just kind of nutty to think about. Like, the fact that we had these three goats of the business in a WrestleMania main event is fantastic. The match itself was fantastic. Great technical work, great cinema, great selling, great just overall in-ring psychology and storytelling. It goes into the great category. I love the way it ended. Just this giant exclamation mark of "I am the tribal chief Roman Reigns," and with the double pin. So it goes into the great category for me. And next we have Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. No, you didn't accidentally rewind. It's just that they've had 3 freaking matches in the WrestleMania main event. This trilogy, oh my God, it just wouldn't stop. All right. Yeah, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns was hyped up as the biggest WrestleMania match in WrestleMania history. I'm sure you heard that about a gazillion times from WWE television and the WWE brass, and you probably got sick of it. What it was the biggest WrestleMania disappointment ever, because I really thought that this match was going to be the best Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns match we've ever had. The bar was pretty high. WrestleMania 31, the bar was pretty high, but the stakes were the highest they've ever been before. Roman Reigns was on God mode. Brock Lesnar is always capable of putting on a 5-star match if you let the guy, but it was slow. It also ultimately became a finisher fest. It wasn't what you know what they should have done? They should have done the SummerSlam match at WrestleMania. That would have been absolutely hyped. That we would have been talking about that match as one of the greatest WrestleMania main events if they'd done the SummerSlam match here at WrestleMania when it was supposed to be the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. At the very least, like, I'll put this into the okay category. The stakes were high, so it was you cared about like the end result, so you paid attention, and it was a 2-night WrestleMania, so we weren't exhausted. So I'll put this into the okay category, but to me, it was one of the biggest letdowns in WrestleMania history. By no means was it a bad match. I really don't think it was a bad match, but it was disappointing for sure. It barely cracks the okay category though, so it goes into okay. And last but not least, we have Roman Reigns versus the American roller coaster Cody Rhodes. I know I've for some reason developed adult onset dyslexia, where now I've been accidentally, like non-ironically, calling him Rhodey Codes. Either way, I'm getting off track here. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39. This match to me is Hall of Fame. Like the match itself was, I feel like it was fantastic. And it wasn't just the match that was good. The story that was being told was fantastic. The in-ring psychology between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes was great. The entrances were monumental. You truly believe that Cody was going to finally be the one to dethrone the tribal chief. The story they told, the swerve that they gave us, not necessarily, oh wow, Solo Sikoa attacks. The swerve was that Roman won, because so many people believe that this was Cody Rhodes finishing the story. I was of the mind that Cody ain't finishing shit, because there's still so much left to the bloodline storyline, and I was right, baby. But the match, the story, the body of work, the presentation, the stakes, all of it is there. It is a good rewatch as well. I am putting this into the Hall of Fame category. And that's every Roman Reigns WrestleMania match ranked. Shit. The code. If you made it this far for the $50 Amazon gift card, leave a message about Roman's hair. All right. If you made it this far, you're an impressive human being. Leave a message about Roman's hair. All right. Now get out of here.